Houston, we're seeing massive objects. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. There are other spacecraft out here. They're lined up along the edge of the crater. They're watching us.
For all of human history, we have gazed up at the moon. We see it as a silent, barren companion, a lifeless rock locked in orbit. But what if that's a lie? What if the celestial body you see every night is not a natural satellite, but a hollowed-out artificial observation post? And what if, right now, 250 million intelligent beings are living inside it? According to classified accounts from individuals who worked at the highest levels of intelligence in aerospace, this theory is not as far-fetched as it sounds. The truth has been buried deep within the moon, and tonight, we dig it up. Before we open those doors together, hope you've been sleeping okay lately. It really matters. And if you're still with me, maybe hit like and subscribe. We're only getting started. Our story begins not in the modern era of leaks and whistleblowers, but in the thick of the Cold War. In July of 1970, as the United States and the Soviet Union battled for technological supremacy, two respected researchers from the Soviet Academy of Sciences published a paper that sent shockwaves through the global scientific community. In an article for Sputnik magazine, Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Sherbakov posed a question so bold it was considered heretical. Was the moon truly a natural satellite? Or could it, in fact, be an artificial construct designed by an intelligence far beyond our own? Their theory was meticulous. They proposed that the moon may have once been a solid planetoid. Eons ago, an incredibly advanced civilization used technology that surpassed every known law of physics to hollow it out. The molten rock and planetary debris that were expelled in this process were repurposed, fused together to form a hardened outer shell, a kind of super armor composed of exotic metals and minerals, engineered to protect the massive structure from cosmic impacts, radiation, and the prying eyes of developing species like our own. Then, by a method still beyond our comprehension, this colossal artificial object was maneuvered across the cosmos and carefully placed into a stable, perfect orbit around Earth. When the theory was first introduced, Western scientists dismissed it immediately. It was labeled a ludicrous joke, a piece of Soviet propaganda. Even within the USSR, prominent physicists condemned the article, calling it science fiction masquerading as academic inquiry. The world laughed, and the theory of the hollow moon was relegated to the dustbin of crackpot ideas. But as the years passed, that once laughable theory began to resurface. Gradually, unsettling pieces of evidence began to emerge. And what was most disturbing of all was how eerily these findings aligned with what the two Soviet researchers had described decades earlier. In science, a theory can only survive if supported by evidence. And sometimes, the most scattered pieces of data quietly become the missing links to a larger, more terrifying truth. In recent years, several independent scientific reports have confirmed the presence of certain metallic elements on the surface of the moon. Elements that, by all natural accounts, should not be there. Among them are two names that any nuclear physicist would immediately recognize: uranium-236 and neptunium-237. Let's be perfectly clear. These are not natural substances. Uranium-236 is a processed byproduct. It is waste from the enrichment of uranium, a process that only occurs within highly developed industrial facilities or advanced nuclear programs. It cannot be found in nature. Neptunium-237 is a radioactive isotope created when plutonium is synthesized under tightly controlled conditions. Both elements can only exist through deliberate, intelligent, technological intervention. The fact that these materials were found on the moon means that at some point in the distant past, an advanced technology left its signature, an industrial fingerprint, on the lunar surface. This was just the beginning. Lunar missions like NASA's Lunar Prospector and the joint NASA Department of Defense mission, known as Clementine, opened the door to an entirely new narrative. Their data revealed something that defied conventional planetary science. Beneath the barren, weathered surface of the moon lies a network of tunnels, hollow chambers, and unexplored structures. Even more perplexing was the gravitational data. The moon's mass is not concentrated deep within its core, as is expected of any natural celestial body. Instead, its mass is heavily distributed near the surface, as if forming a dense, thick shell around a vast, empty interior. This shocking anomaly led many researchers to revisit the once ridiculed theory proposed by Vassin and Sherbakov that the moon is not a solid, natural object, but an engineered construct. Its outer shell is reinforced, and its core is hollow. In other words, a colossal spacecraft disguised as a celestial body. And yet, despite this growing body of physical evidence, no official space agency has ever publicly acknowledged these controversial findings. Most of the relevant data remains classified, sealed under layers of government secrecy. What little we know has surfaced only through fragmented disclosures from former insiders who decided their conscience was more important than their secrecy oath. In the mid-1990s, the United States launched a mission known as Clementine. The stated objective was to survey the moon's polar regions for water ice. But behind this public-facing goal, the Clementine mission carried a second, more discreet purpose. The first to reveal this hidden agenda was Dr. John Brandenburg, the deputy manager of the Clementine mission. Brandenburg, a brilliant physicist who had played a key role in developing defense-related space programs, was not a man prone to exaggeration. In a recorded interview after his retirement, he stated plainly, "A classified part of the Clementine mission was to conduct imaging reconnaissance to determine if someone was building a base on the moon." Then, he spoke of a photograph he said he would never forget. In it, he saw a linear structure stretching for miles, aligned in a strangely perfect manner as if deliberately constructed by intelligent hands. The formation bore no resemblance to any known natural feature. Brandenburg concluded, with the weight of his experience behind him, "As someone who worked in space defense, I can say with certainty, humans have never built anything like this on the moon, which leaves only one possibility: someone else is there." Images from the Clementine mission later revealed numerous anomalous bright spots, precise geometric shapes, and uneven shadow patterns suggesting the existence of freestanding structures, some potentially hundreds of meters tall, scattered across the moon's shadowed regions. But when independent researchers tried to access these images, they hit a wall. Many of the most compelling photos were later altered, blurred, or quietly removed from public archives altogether. Software engineers who had accessed the raw Clementine image databases reported finding manually pixel-censored regions, as if someone had gone in after the fact and intentionally erased whatever wasn't meant to be seen. The cover-up, it seems, began the very moment we first set foot on the moon. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface and spoke the words that echoed through history. "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." What the millions watching across the globe never knew was that immediately following that historic moment, the communication link between Apollo 11 and Houston Mission Control was abruptly cut for exactly 34 seconds. Publicly, it was dismissed as a technical glitch, an overheating camera. Yet over the years, whispers from former NASA employees have suggested otherwise. It wasn't a malfunction, it was a deliberate blackout. Because what Armstrong said during those seconds was never meant for public broadcast. According to a leaked off-the-record audio transcript, the dialogue during that silent window was panicked. It began with a shaken voice from Armstrong. "Houston, we're seeing massive objects. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. There are other spacecraft out here. They're lined up along the edge of the crater. They're watching us." What happened next has remained the subject of hushed conversations at closed-door conferences. Buzz Aldrin, the second man on the moon, later admitted in a private interview that they had seen massive craft parked not far from their position in the Sea of Tranquility. A communications technician who worked inside NASA's broadcasting center confirmed the story. He said the television feed was switched to a secure channel the moment that transmission began. Ground controllers were ordered to lock down the frequency, ensuring that whatever Armstrong saw would never reach public airwaves. A former space defense officer later confirmed, "We didn't cut the feed because of a technical issue. We cut it because what was being seen couldn't be allowed on television." Footage captured by a 360-degree camera mounted on the lunar module reportedly showed the movement of symmetrical objects gliding along the crater's rim. Several reels of film and still photographs from Apollo 11's archive were subsequently classified as top secret and quietly disappeared from all national image repositories. The evidence of this cover-up is overwhelming. Carl Wolf, a former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer who worked at NATO's Supreme Headquarters, testified that more than 40 film reels and thousands of individual photographs from the Apollo missions were either erased, altered, or mysteriously vanished. Wolf, who had direct access to raw satellite imagery at Langley Air Force Base, recalled seeing enormous geometric structures scattered across the lunar surface. When he asked a colleague in NASA's imaging division what they were, he was met with a tense stare and a curt response. "You didn't see anything. Forget this ever happened." Ken Johnston, a data and image archivist who worked directly within the Apollo program at Johnson Space Center, also confirmed this. He stated that he had been ordered to destroy the original photographic negatives taken by the astronauts. Instead of complying completely, Johnston quietly saved a small portion. Years later, he made them public, revealing photographs of strange, artificial-looking structures near the very sites where astronauts had landed. In 2006, an internal investigation by NASA itself officially declared that more than 700 magnetic tapes from the Apollo missions were missing, including the original broadcast footage from Apollo 11. The loss was described as unfortunate, but for an agency of NASA's size, the idea that hundreds of reels documenting one of humanity's greatest achievements could simply vanish is beyond belief. All these pieces, the Soviet theory, the nuclear isotopes, the gravitational anomalies, the censored photos, and the Apollo blackout, paint a disturbing picture. But it was a statement from one former CIA pilot that shook the foundations of this mystery and challenged everything we thought we knew. His name was John Lear. As a highly decorated pilot who flew for major airlines and on classified government programs, and as the son of the founder of the Learjet Corporation, Lear was not a man to be trifled with. In his official testimony, he made a statement that sent waves through the entire intelligence community. He said, "There are currently about 250 million extraterrestrial beings residing within the moon." That single sentence forced even the most skeptical minds to reconsider. According to Lear, the moon houses an immense network of underground cities, biological laboratories, and entire ecosystems, populated by species never before known to mankind. He claimed that some of these species, particularly reptilian entities and small, gray humanoid figures, were the very same beings long rumored to be behind abduction cases and unexplained phenomena on Earth. Lear went further. He claimed that these interior lunar structures cannot be detected by conventional imaging because they are cloaked by advanced holographic projection or even energy-based force fields that bend light. Technologies, he said, that far surpass anything known to human science. This is precisely why our probes and telescopes appear to detect nothing unusual. His testimony was corroborated by others. A former officer in the United States Air Force who served at Edwards Air Force Base, a hub for America's most secretive aerospace technologies, recalled one night during the 1980s when a disc-shaped object descended silently onto the runway. It emitted no sound. When its hatch opened, he saw with his own eyes 3 small beings, slender in build, moving with a swift, weightless grace. He claimed to have witnessed these entities on multiple occasions. When taken together, a pattern emerges. It suggests a deep and long-standing connection between the UFO phenomena observed on Earth and the presence on the moon. Perhaps the moon is not just a place of extraterrestrial habitation, but a command center, quietly orchestrating non-human activity in and around our planet. The evidence points to a chilling conclusion. The moon is not what it seems. It is occupied, a base of operations. And the most unsettling part? Not that extraterrestrials are up there, but that they've been there for a very, very long time. Watching, studying, waiting. The facts are in. Now, it's up to you to decide what to believe. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll see you in the next mystery.